We have made it to the trade deadline here in the St. Louis Dragons franchise here on Madden 24. And we've also got a matchup here at SoFi Stadium against the 4-2 Los Angeles Chargers. We've got a real opportunity to improve this roster, being in contention for the NFC West, only half a game outside of first place. Last episode, we had our first prospect profile of the season, going over some of the top quarterbacks inside the draft class. And obviously, we're not going to be drafting a QB early, but it's still good to see some of the future signal callers of our league and some of the faces of NFL franchises. We also had a matchup against the Washington Commanders. It ended up being a really ugly defensive type battle, but we ended up getting the win in overtime, 24-18, with a game-winning touchdown from Puma Whitlock to Arturo Modelo. The offense really was not good for 3.5 quarters, but when we needed to make plays, we did. The biggest story was on defense, with Simeon Bonnet having a game for the ages. 11 tackles, 8 for a loss, and 4.5 sacks. Dominant in the passing game, dominant in the run game. I didn't know this at the time, but Bonnet's 8 tackles for loss is actually an NFL record, which I found out from a comment from the last episode, which is pretty cool. Obviously, he's been fantastic throughout the season, and last week was just the best we've got out of him. His contract next year is going to be outrageous, but I think he's going to be worth every penny. So let's talk about this trade deadline, and we come into it a little bit banged up. We're going to have guys come back within the next couple of weeks. DeAndre Swift is going to be healthy soon, really for the first time since week 2. That's going to be a big deal. And where I think this team stands now, offensively, despite our injuries, I think we're in a good spot. It's the defense that I think could use some reinforcements, especially on the back end. Going into this season, the one position of question for me was safety. We are trusting young guys like Jalen Bourgeois, who officially has started development, by the way, along with Samasoni Saluni in the back end. And both of those guys have shown some flashes. Both of them have improved throughout this season. But I think it would be in our best interest to add another guy, a veteran, who can give us some more consistency at safety. There's a handful of guys I think I want to look at here. Now, we may look at some unrealistic options to start, maybe gauge how interested those teams might be in trading said players, such as Jabril Peppers with New England. I don't think this one is overly likely. The Patriots are 5-2. Somebody like Malik Hooker probably makes more sense. He's going to be easier to get. The defending champion Cowboys have been a train wreck this year. They're 1-6. Hooker's on the last year of his deal. I think Malik Hooker would make a lot of sense. If we're looking for guys who haven't been paid big extensions yet, Kyle Hamilton could very well be in play with the Ravens. He is not under contract next season. Another guy who is not under contract is Brian Branch in Detroit. Maybe we look at him or C.J. Gardner-Johnson, although I think Branch would make the most sense of the two. Again, the Lions have not re-signed him yet for whatever reason. He had an interception and a great game against us back in week 2. So I put Hamilton and Branch in the trade finder, and unsurprisingly, there was not really any offers for them. Hamilton, there was nothing. Branch, there's nothing here that I think we're willing to do. So I want to go back to Malik Hooker because I think this one makes the most sense. The Cowboys don't have any offers for us in the trade finder, which is kind of weird, but whatever. I think Ed Ingram would be a pretty good fit for them. They could use some more help at guard. We don't really need Ed Ingram. We've got a lot of depth now on the offensive line. I'm going to try him in a 4th-round pick in next year's draft, and we're in the ballpark, but we're a ways away, and I think we can get a cheaper option who's just as good. The Rams have some talented young safeties with Alex Weldy Jr. and Alder Jordan. They don't need some of these older guys like John Johnson and Jordan Fuller. Between the two of them, I think Jordan Fuller would be a great addition for us, and clearly they're more interested in trading him. I tried Ed Ingram in a 4th-round pick in next year's draft, the same offer that we sent Dallas for Hooker, and it's in the green. I don't love the idea of making a trade inter-division like this, but I think it would be worth it for a player such as Jordan Fuller, who I think would be a big addition for us in the back end, but I don't think it's going to work. I tried John Johnson as well, and it seems like this one's going to be more likely. Ed Ingram in a 5th for Johnson in a 7th. Not quite. I'm really trying to milk all the possible future picks I can get, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work. Look how close it was there. I'm doing my all here, but I don't think it's going to happen. We're just going to have to suck it up and trade the 5th, and that's exactly what we do. Ed Ingram in a 5th rounder to the Rams for John Johnson, a talented veteran safety who's going to give us some more consistency and reinforcement on the back end. It's a little bit weird making a trade with a division rival who's our main competition in the division, but we need a safety, they need a guard, so it kind of works out for both sides. As much as I don't want to help the Rams, it helps us in the process. I do want to make up for our loss of draft pick, and I think trading away Joseph Osai would be not only in our best interest, but his as well. He's only played 64 snaps. He's on the last year of his deal. With all the depth we've got up front, I just don't think we need him. There's no offers on the trade finder, but I ended up agreeing to this deal here with Buffalo, acquiring a young offensive tackle in Keaton Quinton, along with a 5th round pick in 2027. So basically, the 2 5th-rounders we traded away offset, and we're dealing Ed Ingram and Joseph Osai for John Johnson and Keaton Quinton, which I think is overall a win for us. We're getting a talented young depth piece on the offensive line, and more importantly, we're getting a great defensive back with John Johnson. Bourgeois will no longer start at safety, but he's going to play all over the field. He's going to possibly be in some nickel and dime packages, maybe even at sub-linebacker as well. So he's still going to have a role on our defense. Let's go through some trades around the rest of the league now. The Niners are 2-5. They're going to be selling off Kevin Byard to the Jets for a 4th rounder. The Jets have been one of the biggest surprises in the NFL this season. Byard's a free agent at the end of the year. The Niners have too many guys to pay. Taylor Decker is going to Atlanta for a 4th rounder, along with a 5th being swapped for a 7th. Decker's 32 years old, and he's on the last year of his deal. Detroit has some young talent at tackle, along with obviously Penei Sewell, so they don't really need Taylor Decker anymore. Tremaine Edmonds and a 5th will go to the Steelers for a 3rd. This is a big get for the Pittsburgh defense. Obviously, the Steelers have had a lot of historic linebackers over their time, and Tremaine Edmonds is the next one to the list. One of the better off-ball linebackers in the league. Our opponent today, the Chargers, are trading Josh Palmer to the Ravens for a 4th and a 7th. Baltimore has some talent at receiver, headlined by Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, but I think they could use a little bit more, and Joshua Palmer should be a nice addition to that offense. As for the final trade of the day, Drew Sanders is going to the Panthers for a 3rd. Sanders is a really talented player who I think you can use in a variety of different ways, whether it's off the ball or as an edge rusher. He has a lot of experience of both positions, dating back to his college career at Alabama and Arkansas. He's going to be a somewhat hefty price, costing a 3rd rounder, but I think it's worth it for a team like Carolina, who's a really good team, adding another piece to the defense. So those are going to be the moves around the league here at the trade deadline. And now our focus is on our Week 8 matchup against the Chargers, who are only 2-4. But obviously they've got some talent, especially at quarterback with Justin Herbert, who's one of the best players at the position in the National Football League. Now the Chargers' weapons don't necessarily scare me, but they've obviously got a great quarterback in Herbert. And I want to see our coverage really be consistent today. We're not going up against an elite receiving corps, so I think we've got the opportunity to do so. The pass rush has been a revelation for us this season, but we need more consistency in the back end defensively, which has really been the only issue on that side of the ball. As we look at the Chargers roster, they are an older team. They've kept a lot of familiar faces from the start of this series to now, obviously led by Justin Herbert in his 7th season out of Oregon, Sco Ducks. They've got a good young running back with Gaffey and Quentin. Their receiving corps is led by Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, and some young guys such as rookie Hakeem Clark, who is superstar development, and tight end Foco DiMaggio. They've got some good players on defense, Derwin James, Joey Bosa. They brought back Khalil Mack after he was with us last year. That I found kind of ironic. So let's now hop into this matchup. Week 8 here at SoFi Stadium. The bye week is in the books. The trade deadline is in the books. And former Ram John Johnson has been acquired to add to the secondary. And Johnson's going to play in a stadium that he's very familiar with, his home stadium during his career with the Rams. But now he's going to be in the other locker room with our St. Louis Dragons, who face off against the Los Angeles Chargers, who have been a little disappointing this year at 2-4. Sellers at the deadline trading Joshua Palmer to the Baltimore Ravens, but we'll see if they can rebound here today, as they will start with the football. First play from scrimmage from the 16, already rough field position, as Gaffey and Quentin loses 2, wrapped up by Devin White, who continues to be fantastic for this defense. St. Quentin in his 2nd season out of Auburn. 2nd and 12, play action. Herbert under pressure. He is sacked by B.J. Ojulari. who also continues to be so good for this team. He was obviously our trade deadline acquisition last year, and that deal has been a home run. One of the best moves of this entire series. It's a screen on 3rd and 17, and it won't result in much. Maybe a gain of about 3. That's Isaiah Spiller who got the ball there. The Dragons defense eats it up. St. Louis with it now on offense, 3rd and 6. Here's Arturo Modelo, wide open. Can he beat Samuel to the races? Yes, he does! It's Modelo time. Arturo Modelo with his team-leading 5th receiving touchdown of the year. He had 2 last week, including the game winner in overtime. And now he's on the board here early as he beats Asante Samuel on the rep, a matchup that I'm really excited about. Very good young receiver against a very good young corner. Here's Keenan Allen to the 44 for a Chargers first down. Keenan Allen is still one of the more reliable receivers in the NFL, despite being the oldest in the entire league. Here's Quentin Johnston with room. He's gone! 44-yard touchdown for Quentin Johnston, and the Chargers tie it up. Quentin Johnston can play. This is not real-life Quentin Johnston, who has had obviously his fair share of struggles, but for this team in this series, he's a very productive receiver. Arturo Modelo on first down, fumbles the ball. It's forced and recovered by Asante Samuel Jr. A massive play for the Chargers. I think that ball was clearly out as well. A big mistake by Arturo Modelo, who's obviously been one of the best players on this offense this year. But he coughs up the ball. A great play by Asante Samuel, making up for the poor rep on the Modelo touchdown on the last drive. And now the Chargers start with ridiculous field position. Herbert sacked on first down by Trajan Blyshenden, who has sent consistent pressure from the interior this year. Despite that, though, that's only his 2nd sack of the season. 2nd and long. Herbert is intercepted. Demore Diggins picks it off, his 2nd of the year. And so both teams trade off turnovers. This one essentially in the red zone for the Chargers. And the Dragons get it back. Game remains tied at 7. Big play there by Diggins, who's had some really big plays over the last couple of weeks. 3rd and 6 now for the Dragons. Puma Whitlock under pressure goes short for Weaver, who is quickly wrapped up after a gain of 4. A big tackle there by the Charger defense, and that'll force a punt. Both offenses marched down the field early with a couple of big plays, but now it's the defenses starting to get to work. Here's Hakeem Clark, the first-round rookie out of Texas A&M with a gain of 19. Clark, the 2nd receiver taken off the board. He's a very explosive player who I compared to Deebo Samuel for his versatility and ability after the catch. 3rd and 4, Herbert goes short. He's got his fullback, Derico Callaway, who gets the first down before being lit up by Devin White. Under a minute to go in what has been a pretty fun first quarter so far. 2nd and 2. Herbert on the wheel route. He's got Johnston, who scored earlier. He's in again. Quentin Johnston with his 2nd touchdown of the first quarter. And the Los Angeles Chargers extend the lead. It's now 14-7. Dragons back with it, 2nd and 8. Final play of the quarter. It's Jamison Williams with a nice grab. Brings it to the 42-yard line, and that'll wrap up quarter number 1. No shortage of action here in Southern California. The Chargers up top 14-7. 3rd and 8 now for the Dragons. Puma goes short for Jamo, who does barely get the first down. Jamo's been really solid this season. I think he's turned into a legitimate number 1 alpha receiver for the offense. On 3rd and 7, Weaver drops it. Predrag Sturlovich, who played his college ball not too far away from here at USC, breaks up the pass. Chargers back with it, albeit with poor field position as it's a 3rd and 5. Fullback in motion. Play action. Herbert looks to throw it. He's got time. He's got a man open. It's once again the rookie, Hakeem Clark, with a gain of 18 as Devin White is hurt on the play. That is not good news. His day is done with a bruised sternum. Probably not a long-term injury, but a big loss. Owen Popeau's going to be the main linebacker, and we're going to see some Jalen Bourgeois, after all, getting some snaps in the box. Herbert on first down is sacked. There's Owen Popeau. Speak of the devil. He gets half a sack along with Simeon Bonnet, who now has 11.5 sacks on the year, leading the NFL in that category pretty comfortably. 3rd and 4. Herbert under pressure from Ojulari. It's incomplete. Good coverage there again by Owen Popeau, who makes some nice plays on this drive after the injury to Devin White. Dragons back with it. 3.5 to go in the half. Is on 3rd and 3. Darwin Juskins loses a yard. He's wrapped up by Dian Henley. The Washington Husky tackled for loss by the Washington State Cougar. And the Chargers will get it back. 2nd and inches. It's a handoff for Gaffeyson Quentin, and he loses 4. DeJuan Overton, the defensive tackle, brings him down. Overton's been one of the most improved players on this roster. His ascension this year has been gigantic. 3rd down, big catch for a conversion. That's the rookie Clark with the 1st down. Another 3rd down now, this time a 3rd and 6 here for the Chargers. Herbert looks to throw it, and it's dropped. Clark unable to hang on that time as the ball is jarred out by Owen Popo. Dragons back with it, 2nd and 8, minute 20 to go in the half. Puma Whitlock goes short. It's Darwin Juskins with a nice play after the catch for a 1st down. The Dragons looking to move quickly, hold on to their timeouts if they can. Puma up the middle is intercepted. Derwin James picks it off. Puma panicked there. He looked to make a play up the middle of the field. I think his intended receiver, I think it was Weaver, would have been open had Puma been a little bit more patient and waited to make the throw. Chargers back with it. Not for long. Herbert's intercepted. It's Diggins, his 2nd of the game. And he's going to take this one to the casa for a pick 6. A house call for DeMore Diggins, his 2nd interception of the ball game. And just like that, we're tied at 14. A massive play by Diggins, who has been on fire to start this game. And fuego goes the young corner. Chargers back with it with a tie game. Herbert connects with his tight end, Poco Fumaggio, the 3rd-year pro out of Boston College, drafted in the 2nd round of the 2024 draft. Now from the 47, up the middle, Fumaggio again gets by a defender and is wrapped up by DeMore Diggins. Diggins has had his inconsistencies in coverage this year, but obviously he's had a few big interceptions, and his tackling has been big as well. 2nd and 10, Herbert has to throw it away. Good pressure there by Popo. And with 19 seconds left, the Chargers are just going to kick their field goal now. I get they have no timeouts, but I'm a little bit surprised because this is a 57-yarder, and he drills it. I think he could have made that from 67. What a kick for Jake Elliott, who's got a career of long kicks. And it's 17-14. Going into halftime, the Chargers hold a slight lead in what's been an interesting game for sure. The Dragons' offense looked good early, but they haven't done anything since. Lucky to get the defensive touchdown from Diggins. Let's take a look at our halftime report. We've got another AFC West versus NFC West battle. And luckily, our friends in Seattle are getting demolished by the Chiefs, 17-0, with that touchdown from Mahomes to Rashee Rice. In Dallas, the Cowboys slaughtered the Giants for a much-needed win, 35-10, just their 2nd win of the season. The Giants went into the year starting rookie quarterback Stanley Cubbage Jr., but he got injured. Danny Derps is back under center. In Philadelphia, a high-scoring game was won by the Eagles. Both Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson threw 3 touchdowns, including that beauty to A.J. Brown. But Richardson was picked off 4 times in the Colts' loss. As we go into the second half, we got to get the run game going. It's 2 games in a row where we have not run the ball, but I think this is going to be a close shootout, and we're going to need Puma Whitlock on his A game. And then in the inverse, we need our pass defense to play their best football. Dragons open up the second half on offense. 1st and 10. Puma under pressure, rolls out, and he will throw a dart for Weaver with a big play after the catch to the 37. But unfortunately, Puma Whitlock is hurt after the play as he strains his pec. That's not going to keep him out of the game, but Puma Whitlock's gotten really banged up throughout the season. A lot of wear and tear, which is not good. 3rd and 6, he fires for Isaiah Likely, who gets 4. Big tackle by Derwin James, and now the Dragons have an interesting 4th and 2 decision. They're going to keep the offense out on the field and go for it. They could tie it up with a 46-yard field goal from former Charger kicker Cam Dicker, but they're going to go for it, and it's Derrick Henry with blocks, gets the 1st down, gaining 5. The Dragons' run game has been a disaster today, but they go to the run on 4th down, and it works. 2nd and 5. Puma fires for Jamison Williams, gets a nice block from Tornado Davis, as JMO brings it to the 5. The Dragons' offense getting closer and closer as they look to take the lead. 2nd and goal now from the 1. It's Davis. I don't know how you can get closer than that as he gets hurt trying to propel himself into the end zone. The Dragons have struggled in the red zone all year. We'll see what they can do on 3rd and goal. Puma's got Likely wide open. That's about as easy of a touchdown as you'll get. And the St. Louis Dragons are back on top. Isaiah Likely with the score, and it's 21-17. Chargers back with it after allowing a long touchdown drive to the Dragons, as just about everybody is in motion for the LA offense. Herbert, play action, up the middle. He connects with Poco Formaggio, who gains around 24. Herbert went into halftime with around 250 passing yards. The Chargers really haven't tried to get the run game going, which is a surprise because the Dragons' run defense this year has not been good. And speaking of, case in point, Jefferson Quentin to the 42 for a big run. Now it's a play action. Herbert looking downfield. It's caught by Hakeem Clark, who brings it to the 10-yard line, continuing his stellar performance. 4 grabs for 65 yards for the rookie. 3rd and 6 at the 6. Herbert on the run. It's incomplete. Good coverage by Samasoni Saluni. Good pressure late from the linebackers. And so the Dragons are going to hold on to their lead. Chip shot field goal for Jake Elliott is up and good, and it's now 21-20. We've got ourselves quite the ball game here once again. The Dragons always got to keep it close as they get it back on offense. 3rd and 2. Weaver comes down with it for a first down. Jalen Smith hurt on the play for the Los Angeles defense, a talented veteran linebacker who is still in the league after over a decade. Puma Whitlock in the zone, under pressure, very clearly slower because of his injury as he's sacked by Joey Bosa in Ohio State on Ohio State crime. Puma can't really scramble. His pectorals clearly bothering him. Broken up on 3rd and 6. He's lucky Derwin James didn't come down with that. Jamison Williams getting a hand on that ball saved a potential interception as the Chargers will get it now to kick off the 4th quarter. They trail by 1. 2nd and 7. Herbert up the middle. It's Keenan Allen. The old man still got a lot left in the tank as he brings it to the 49. One of the all-time great Los Angeles Charger players, or I guess you can combine their history with San Diego as well. 2nd and 3. It's intercepted! Cam Lucifer scoops it out of Keenan Allen's hands. What a play there by Lucifer, his 3rd interception of this season. Him and Diggins have each caught 3 interceptions this year, while the rest of the defense has 1 combined. Puma on the run here on 3rd and 3. Can't find anybody, so he just launches it for the ground. Nice pressure there by the Charger defense. That was Bruce Gonzalez in the backfield. And so the Dragons have to punt it. They don't get anything off the turnover. 3rd and 3. Keenan Allen with the first down. He gets around 8 or 9 to keep the chains moving. Following play from the 39. Herbert hands it off for Isaiah Spiller. He's got blocks. Gets a big one from his tight end. Can Sanaga catch him? Not quite. He's wrapped up all the way at the 7 by Cam Lucifer. A run of 54 yards for Isaiah Spiller. And finally, the Chargers break off a big one on the ground. 1st and goal after the huge run by Spiller. Here's Herbert. Has a clean pocket. Fires for Quentin Johnston. That's a hat trick. Quentin Johnston's 3rd touchdown of the ball game. And now the Chargers are going to look to go for 2. Make it a clean 7-point lead. Herbert looks to throw it. He's going to try to run it now, and he's in. Herbert gets the red carpet up front from his offensive line, and he capitalizes. Big drive upcoming now for the Dragons, down by 7. The offense has been very inconsistent today as Puma's pass is dropped. Wide open for Arturo Modelo, and the young wideout with another big mental mistake. He had the fumble earlier, and now that. 2nd and 10 after the drop. Puma looks to throw it. He goes back to Modelo, continuing to show trust in his young receiver, and that will go for a first down. 3rd and 2 now, under 5 minutes to play. Puma looks to throw it. Goes up the middle. It's Modelo again, who comes down with it for a first down. Following play. Play action. Puma on the run. Can he outrun the pass rusher? He does not. Antoine Bibbs Jr. in the backfield with the sack. If Puma was healthy, he's breaking off a big run, but he's lost his speed. 3rd and 5, it's Griffin Weaver with the first down to the 41. And again, the offense continuing to move it slowly but surely. Another 3rd down now. 3rd and 7. Puma misfires. He had Likely open, but the pass rush was too much. On 4th and 7, the Dragons are going to go for it. This might be the ball game. Puma, empty backfield, backs up, and he fires for Likely. A risky throw, but he threads the needle perfectly to get that ball past the linebacker into the hands of Likely. Final play before the 2-minute warning, another 3rd down, and another conversion from Isaiah Likely, who gets the first down to the 12. Another 3rd down, now 3rd and 4. Likely again as it's 1st and goal. A few big plays on this drive down the stretch from the tight end Isaiah Likely. 2nd and goal. Puma looks for the end zone. It's incomplete. Likely the intended target. That's going to be a defensive pass interference, though. It won't really affect the yardage because the Dragons already have it at the 1. But instead of 3rd down, it's 1st down, and the Dragons are going to have 4 tries for the end zone. Handoff for Henry. Nope. He loses a yard. The Dragons still with all their timeouts in their back pocket as they use their first one. They've been chipping away at this clock. Now Juskins, is he in? Not quite. I don't think it's possible to be any closer. 3rd and goal at the 1 with 13 seconds and 1 timeout left. The Dragons have not been able to run it in short yardage situations all day, so they go to the pass for Modelo, and it's broken up by Henley. 4th and goal at the 1. The game is on the line. The 6th and final play of this drive on the goal line. Puma for Likely. It's a touchdown. And we're tied at 28. A gigantic drive from both Puma Whitlock and Isaiah Likely to knot this one up at 28. That was not pretty at the end, but on the Dragons' 6th play on the goal line, they punch it in. With 2 seconds now, the Chargers are going to go for the Hail Mary. No pass interferences, please. Herbert's going to eventually run with it as he slides to the 37. And through 4 quarters, we do not have a winner. For a 2nd consecutive game, the Dragons are going into overtime. Against Washington, they won the toss because tails never fails. They got the ball, scored, and did not let Washington get it. Tails never fails, but it lands on heads. So the Chargers will start with the ball. In overtime against the Commanders, they never touched it. But the Chargers will get the opportunity that Washington didn't. An opportunity with the ball to win the game. Get Justin Herbert lead the Chargers down the field for the win. On 1st down, it's Gaffey Quentin who loses 3. Nakobe Dean brings him down for the Dragons. 3rd and 6 now, under 5 to go. It's going to be a screen for Quentin, and he is stopped shy of the yard to gain a big tackle by Jeff Okuda. So the defense stands tall, they get a stop, and now the offense only needs a field goal to win the game. 3rd and 5, here's Puma Whitlock. He's under pressure, fires for J-Mo, who gets around 5 or 6, but that's all he needs to keep the drive going. Following play, it's a play action. Puma scrambles to the right, he's got room, and he's going to take off! Puma Whitlock, down the field! He slides at the 21! What a run for Puma Whitlock, who's been unable to scramble here in the second half. Breaks off a big one to bring the Dragons in field goal range. Following play, it's Juskins. He's got blocks. Open space. Night-night. Touchdown for Darwin Juskins. And the Dragons walk it off in overtime for a 2nd consecutive game. It's Darwin Juskins, the hero, who waltzes in for a score. And the Dragons win here in overtime against the Chargers, 34-28. What a thrilling game. What a thrilling ending. The matchup the entire way was so exciting. And the best part about it is that our Dragons hold on to get the win and improve to a record of 5-2. It wasn't pretty, but we got stops when we needed to, and we got big drives when we needed to. And ultimately, that was the difference to help us win the game. Overall, I thought both quarterbacks were solid. Both quarterbacks were heavily relied on because neither run game was really all that effective. I know both teams both ran for a lot of yardage, but that was mostly because of a few big runs late from each side. Herbert, 383 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he did have 3 interceptions. As for Puma, big drives late. The interception was bad, but other than that, really solid. Our run game was not good. Our run game has been a disaster since DeAndre Swift got hurt. I'm excited to have him back. Isaiah Likely, Quentin Johnston with multiple touchdowns. They lead the way receiving-wise. Modelo and Jamo also very solid. Defensively, it wasn't perfect, but we got the job done. 15 tackles for Lucifer. He was all over the field. Although 15 tackles at corner is not always a good thing. Not his best day in coverage, but somebody had to make all the tackles that Devin White would have otherwise. Not a ton from either pass rush. Simeon Bonnet was quiet for his standards, but a lot of turnovers. 2 interceptions for Diggins, including the pick 6. Lucifer, of course, gets one as well. I said I wanted the coverage to tighten up going into the game, and I think we did that. It was not always perfect, but the coverage made some good plays, and obviously we had 3 interceptions today in the back end, certainly forcing some turnovers. We haven't forced any fumbles in the last couple of weeks after the first 5 games of the year where everybody was forcing fumbles. Simeon Bonnet's going to have his X-Factor ability on to start next game against the Niners. That's a big deal. We saw against Washington how dangerous he is when he's in the zone. Let's take a look at the scores around the league. An interesting trend is pretty much every game here ended up being super high scoring. Other than the Titans and the Commies, every matchup, the winner scored at least 20 points. Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Dre Greenlaw, and Logan Wilson end up winning the Players of the Week. Since we're now at Week 9, we can take a look at the yearly awards as of now, with Jalen Hurts the MVP frontrunner. Puma Whitlock's currently in 6th. Keep in mind he's already at his bye week. No Simeon Bonnet in the top 10. I feel like there could have been a case for him. He is the frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year with Devin White in 6th. I'm happy that White's getting his respect. Puma is 3rd for Best Quarterback and 9th for Offensive Player of the Year. Arturo Modelo is 7th for Best Receiver. No Jamo, which is odd because I think Jamison Williams has been better than Modelo. Jedrick Wills is 3rd for Best Offensive Lineman, even though he's missed half the year. Bonnet, obviously, Best Defensive Lineman. Devin White, 3rd for Best Linebacker. Owen Popo is in 6th. Demore Diggins, 2nd for Best DB. He shouldn't be 2nd, but okay. Cam Lucifer, meanwhile, is in 5th. And then Cameron Dicker is 5th for the Best Kicker in the NFC. So that'll wrap up the episode. I think next time around we've got a double header. We'll play against the Niners on the road on Monday Night Football, and then Week 10 against Big Blue and the New York Football Giants. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me know what you thought of our trade deadline down below in the comments. Peace out.